So if you have a friend that is into personal finance or you've been watching our videos, you've probably gotten to the point where after us telling you a lot of times, you've opened up your own Roth IRA. Now, first of all, congratulations. I'm happy for you and you're on your path of becoming a millionaire. But second, now you have to figure out what should you invest your money on. Now, that's exactly what we're going to cover in today's video. But before we do so, I really want to encourage you to check out the video we did 2 weeks ago. We talked about passively and actively managed portfolios, and we also covered what expense ratios are and how it is really important. And that's crucial for you to understand before we get into today's video. Let's hit it. Now today, I'm going to break it down to 3 ways of investing in your Roth IRA. Now it can be easy, medium, or hard, and it depends on how much effort you want to put into it, how much risk do you want to take, and a lot of other factors. But before we do so, I want to cover a few key rules that you have to think about when you're planning for your retirement and investing in your retirement. Now my 3 rules are: anything above a 0.75% expense ratio is way too high, so you have to find things that are way below that. Then, index funds all the way, no individual stocks in my retirement account. And the third of all, and perhaps the most important one of this entire video, is max it out all the way every single year. Take advantage of the government giving you the opportunity of evade taxes legally and do so. So focus on that first. Now, the last thing to know, which is not a rule but is very important, is there's 2 things that you can invest on in retirement accounts. There are stocks and there are bonds. So you probably know the difference, but the biggest takeaway and the biggest thing for you to understand is that stocks are usually riskier than bonds. The way it works is that at the beginning of your retirement planning, like when you're in your early 20s like I am, you're probably going to do more of the stocks than you're going to do of the bonds. A great way to understand that is the way they put it in the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Stocks are actually the accelerator and bonds are going to be the brakes. So as you grow older, you're going to start decelerating a little bit and start braking more because you can take less risk because you're closer to your retirement. But at the beginning, when you're my age, which is kind of what I'm going to be basing this video about, you're going to do much more stocks than you're going to do bonds. So let's actually get down into the allocations. I'm going to move here to the right. So if you're wondering why I'm not in the usual setup and I'm sitting in the floor, is because I'm currently in Bogota, Colombia, and this is the best place that I can get light in the Airbnb I'm staying. And also, we haven't had a beer in the channel in a minute, so I'm going to be drinking Bahia, which is a Colombian beer. Whew. Alright, so as far as the allocations, let's break it down to the easy, medium, and hard. So the easiest way is you only focus on putting in the money and you pick one fund where that money is all going to go to. And in this case, you're probably going to pick the S&P 500. So you can pick either the VOO, which is the S&P 500 ETF that Vanguard offers, or you can pick the SPY, which is also called the Spider, which is offered by another company, or you can even go a little deeper and just find a mutual fund that your brokerage offers and just invest all your money into that. Now, the issue with that is that you're not going to be diversified that much, but the S&P 500 is proven to return, I think it's like 7 or 8% adjusted for inflation every single year. So if you're putting money into that, that's much better than not doing anything. So that's easy. Then medium, you don't do that much of a difference, but you take it up a notch. You start using what is called a target retirement date fund. So remember a few seconds ago when I explained that there's bonds and there's stocks, and as you grow older, you have to do the change? Well, that can be hard for some people, and maybe not even hard, maybe it's just annoying. So what a target retirement date fund does for you is that they change the allocation from stocks to bonds as you grow older automatically. Like, you don't have to worry about it. So you pick one target retirement date fund. My recommendation is whatever account you're using. So if you have a Vanguard or if you have a Fidelity, just go with the one that they offer. What you do is that you calculate what year you're planning to retire in, and then you invest in the fund that has that target retirement date. So for example, for me, my target retirement date will be around 2060 or 2065. And there's actually funds that already offer a retirement date by then. So if you look at, for example, the 2060 target retirement date fund for Fidelity, the majority of the investments are going to be made of stocks. And there's going to be like a small percentage, maybe around 10%, that is going to be bonds. A great advantage of the target retirement date funds is that it's a fund made out of funds. So the expense ratios are actually going to be very low. From all my friends that I talk to that are not like into finance, or they don't like this that much, or they find this boring, which I completely understand, this is the best option. Focus on putting all your money into the account, into your preferred target retirement date fund, and at a very low expense ratio is going to take care of it until you retire. If that's you, I really encourage you to actually click off this video now. Even though it's bad for us in our retention videos, the next part might make it a little more confusing, and the most important thing, like I mentioned before, is you just putting your money into your account. And the last one, it's the hard allocation. So if you made it this far in this video, congratulations and thank you so much. This is actually the allocation that I use for my own retirement accounts. And the summary of what we do in the hard allocation is that you pick your own funds and you try to create your own portfolio of different funds. So I've done a lot of research in this. I think I've dedicated probably like 24 to like 36 hours. And this is obviously spread out in a few months of planning my own 401k. And then when I open my Roth IRA. And the conclusion I came to is that at 22, at my age, I put all my money on stocks. I don't do any bonds, at least not yet. Probably when I reach my mid to late 20s, I'm gonna start doing a little more bonds. But for now, just focusing 100% on stocks. So I'm gonna break down my allocation in percentages, and then I'll show you guys what my actual funds are. So my actual allocation comes down to this. First, I do my domestic stocks, which are gonna be the money that I have invested in the US. I break it down to small, medium, and large cap first. And for each one of those, I'm gonna invest 15% in each. So that's already 45%. Then I'm also a very big fan of the S&P 500. So even though this is kind of a little double dipping, I do 5% in the S&P 500, so that's already 50. And then I do 10% in a real estate investment trust. So the one that I found with Fidelity that I like the most is actually US as well. So you could say that I have 60% of my money invested in the US. And then we go international, and every good book like Random Walk recommends that you have a big portion of your assets allocated in your international markets because you need that exposure. So what I do is I do 10% in emerging markets, then I do 10% in developed markets. And then once again, a little bit with double dipping, I do 10% of total international markets. So this kind of grabs a share of all the international markets, excluding the US and Canada, I think, and just invest in all those stocks. So that gives me a lot of exposure. And then at the end, I actually have 10% that are left out. And like many other books recommend, especially I Will Teach You to Be Rich, this is just my fun stonks, as I call it, part of my portfolio that I can just invest in whatever I want. My rules still apply of not investing in individual stocks, but rather funds or ETFs in this one, but I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to invest on there. I'm going to follow my same principle of lower than 0.75% expense ratio, but I'm probably going to look into things like aerospace or AI or any other things that I think are going to have a value in the future. Since I have the majority of my portfolio already allocated into safe assets like index funds, this is something that I can play with, and if it even goes to zero, it's fine because 90% of my portfolio is already invested in good things. Now, the actual funds that you're going to invest on is going to depend on what bank account you have. I personally have Fidelity, so the ones I'm going to be showing today are going to be Fidelity, because when it comes to retirement planning, it usually makes the most sense around cost to invest in the funds that that bank offers. Now, I'm gonna add a screenshot right now of what that looks like in my bank account and what were the actual funds that I chose with Fidelity. And feel free to stop the video and like take a screenshot and maybe do your own research. But going over the most important things, the first thing is that every single fund I chose is Fidelity. That is because it makes the most sense cost-wise, like I mentioned before. And also, usually when you have a fund that is made by the bank that you have, they have what it's called an NTF, which means that there's no transaction fee. So they're not going to charge you when you buy or sell the fund. The second thing is that every single allocation is an index fund, which is very important because that means that my expense ratios are going to be very low. It actually doesn't go above a 0.1%. So I still have to figure out what I'm going to invest on for my fund stocks category, but I don't think I'm going to go above a 0.5 expense ratio in that category. And even with that, my total portfolio expense ratio is a 0.08%, which is amazing. It is a little bit of an overkill because I have around 8 to 10 different funds that I invest on, and that actually takes some time of rebalancing and all that stuff. But that's just me because I'm a nerd and I actually like doing videos about this and like researching this and putting time into this. But for you, like I said at the beginning, the most important thing is just focus on putting the most money into your account. I really hope you guys like this video, and I really hope you guys stick to me with the end and I was able to explain myself well enough. So if you like this video and you got something out of it, I really encourage you to like and subscribe. We do videos like this that we focus on personal finance and we try to bring knowledge from different books. So if you have any other ideas of something that you want to see in this channel, please go and comment it down below and we'll definitely check it out and probably do a video about it. And that's it. Peace.